Hey guys, how's it going? It is your MIA blogger. um, it is October 8th and it is rainy and freezing outside. And so I am currently inside working on a paper. It never seems to end. Using this has been my friend as of recently, quantitative conservation biology. I don't really know what that is, but I'll let you know when I figure it out. Um, I was just going to do a quick blog update. I think these video ones have spoiled me, but um, I was thinking I was backpacking through Europe a little bit ago, and it was amazing. It was everything I hoped it would be. Um, but it's been interesting how the Lord's kind of orchestrated things to tie up as I get ready to leave, and um, so I just gonna was gonna put a blog entry up about it and just kind of um, because people have been asking me, and I'm really sorry. But just that, just kind of where I am, and I'm at session 7 now for breaking free because I had to take a break when I was doing my thesis because it just was too much. But so I'm in session 7, and it's called Beauty from Ashes, and it's a lot about trials and basically how God makes beauty from ashes, and so I just was kind of, you guys know if you've kept up with my blog for any length of time that, I try to be as transparent and as authentic as possible, and it's not exactly easy sometimes because you put something out in public and it's hard. But I figure if you're on my on my blog that it's something you want to know about. Um, so lately, okay, well, I went to a get together the other day, and one of our friends here in Cromarty was talking to me about my master's degree, and he made the mistake of saying, "Oh, you've gotten your master's, so you know what you're going to do with your life now." And I started laughing at him. And I was like, "Not so sure about that." Um, so in the position I'm in right now, um, I'm employed with my advisor. Um, but I am coming home soon, um, and my visa is running out soon, and I do not know what's next. Um, if you know me at all, you know that's a little stressful because I may not know what I'm doing tomorrow, but I know what the next step in terms of career or education has been. At least I always have up until this point. And it's funny because this session 7 really hit me in a lot of ways, and the whole time I was just like, preach it. So I would encourage you to get it on lifeway.com, especially if you're a female around my age, or just a female in general. You know what I mean. Anyways, um, so this is my Sarah's honest moment, as usual. But up until a couple weeks ago, I had really been looking at this whole time in Scotland as a trial, um, and it was really great to be a part of the study because I really felt like my eyes started to get opened to, obviously, to the good moments, but also to the amazing things that can come out of a trial. And um, basically is that I've learned in this year that first of all, I come from a long line of strong women. And um, so we almost have this intuitive survival instinct when it comes to trials, which is to survive. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but basically that I will survive something no matter what. Grit my teeth and get through it, and get what I need to get done. And that's just me. I'm a fighter when it comes to that kind of thing, and I've started to learn recently that a lot of times that can interfere with the Lord's healing, because a lot of times He wants to get there, but you're so used to protecting it that it can be hard to let Him in. And I think that's a lot of what the trials have been about this year for me. And now at the end of it, thinking about going home, because you have to understand, up until this point in my life, everything has been pretty textbook good. Great, actually. And so, for the most part, in terms of actual accomplishment things, graduating from college, that type of thing, everything has gone amazing. But this year I've really hit a lot of personal and academic and spiritual trials and roadblocks. And I think it's because for the first time I put myself out there in the unfamiliar and out of my comfort zone. And I was looking at that as a bad thing until I got back from my trip through Europe and really was able to sit down and start to realize that, like, the Lord and I just have had some quality time, and we've been having a rough time for the past little bit, and I think that's a good thing. It has been a time where the Lord and I have really gotten down to the truth in a lot of things. It hasn't been easy. I won't tell you that it's been easy. But it's been good. It's been really good. And my sister always used to tell me that, and she still tells me to this day, that sometimes the hardest thing about life is being honest with yourself. And I've started, and basically what happened is I got back from this trip and everybody left. Because of the schedule of things, I basically have 2 weeks here in this tiny itty bitty fishing village by myself. And so that's just given me a lot of time to think, and after the craziness of the past couple months, really sit down and say, okay, how can I take this back with me? How can I, at the end of Scotland, at the end of 13 months of being away from home, really away from home, especially at the end of 6 months. It's been 6 months since I've been in the States. And so how can I take this? What are the lessons I've learned? And I think at this point that it's a lot about, for me, about burning off the fake. So not to shy away from trials. I was looking at this whole Scotland thing as a bad thing about, just a lot of the stuff that's changed and a lot of the stuff that and then you realize that it's all been for a good thing. One of the things Beth says in session 7, which I really liked, is she said a lot of times in Western culture, we let irritations become tribulations. Things that really aren't that big of a deal become this massive deal in our minds, and to kind of put things in perspective. And the fact is that, after something happens, after you hit a trial or something that's been hard, what do you do? Like, in that moment, how do you act? And that's one of those things where, in my life at this point, I've realized that I didn't know, I can't really remember how I got here, what decisions were made a year and a half ago. I just know that the Lord orchestrated it for me. And the one thing I'll say at the end of it is, like, do not run from things that stretch you or that take you out of your comfort zone or make you feel unfamiliar, because you can overprotect yourself out of so many good things that come from hard situations. And these situations, and it's easy when you've been through it looking back to say, oh yeah, like, it's hard, but it's good. Yeah, and if you're in the middle of it, you're like, you know what? Like, you just kind of want to hit somebody in the face, which is fine, because we all feel that way, regardless of if you admit it or not. But here's what I'll say, is that going back, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I've turned down some job offers, applied for a couple others. I don't really know what feels right yet. I don't know what my next step is. And that is unfamiliar territory for me. Unfamiliar territory. But I know this. I know that the Lord is faithful. I know that He is good. And I know that the best lessons come out of stretching yourself and being faithful. And, it's like they say, the bigger the step of faith, the more the Lord can meet you. And what do you do when you're faced? Here's my question. At the end of this, here's my question to you. When you are faced with something scary, something that stretches you, do you just run home? Do you run back to the familiar? Or do you trust that the Lord is going to take care of you and that the Lord is going to meet you and that the Lord may have a bigger plan than you could ever imagine for yourself? And I am saying that right now, absolutely terrified to go home. So please don't think that I am talking down to you or saying anything. But that's just the one thing I've learned in the past 6 months since my last video doing everything is that what do you do? Do you run back to your old comforts, or do you take that step forward and take the risk and take the adventure? Because that's how we're called to live. We're not called to live where we have 3 months of something that's hard or 3 months of something that makes us feel uncomfortable and then run home back to the familiar. Yeah, push yourself. Like life goes by like that. And you can either spend most of it trying to make yourself feel comfortable and trying to make sure that nothing makes you feel stressed and that you know where everything is, or you can spend it in this journey of hard times and trials. And trials are unavoidable. Even if you spend your whole life in the same small town, it's going to suck sometimes because that's just how life is. It just happens. But what do you do with that? So it doesn't matter where you are, but everybody's way of pushing themselves out of their comfort zone is different. The Lord has a unique plan for each of us. But that's what I'm going to say, at least today, in this rainy day where I just had to get something out off my chest because I was thinking about that. And that's my thing now, is just to encourage you to get out of your comfort zone. Don't just run back to something familiar because you don't know where you are. Or just because it's easier. Because that one thing, that stretching your comfort zone, might be the necessary piece to you fulfilling a plan that is just completely outside of the best thing you can imagine. And I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what my next step is. But so be praying for me about that if you think about it. But that's just what I have to say today. I don't know if that is something. Session 7, Beth Moore, check it out. Europe was amazing. Check out pictures on Facebook because I'm social networked out. So yeah, much love. I hope that wasn't weird. That was something I had to say and had to get out there and just send encouragement. And it's one of those things where if you realize you've been in a comfort zone, you've had that little voice, and you know what I'm talking about, that is calling you to something of adventure, or something that the Lord's calling you to do that you're too scared to admit to yourself. And that's what you have to sit there and listen to. If you realize that you're filling your time with a lot of busy things so you don't think about things, you're probably hearing a voice. So here's from somebody who can sympathize in every aspect when it comes to being terrified to do something, terrified to something new. But I will say this, at the end of this season, for me, I am going to come back a very different person than when I left. Still the same Sarah, but different in a lot of ways that are good. That in the moment, I would say sucked. But at the end of it, I can connect the dots. So, I don't know what's next. I have no idea. But, Esther, my favorite book of the Bible, chapter 4, at the end, when she has to go to the king, it's truth moment, and she just says, I'm going on faith, and if I perish, I perish. And that's the kind of courage I think I'm taking back home. Gonna turn around and face it like that. So I might put up another blog post. I don't know, you know me. But much love, and I'll see you guys soon. So peace.